to Pick a Poco Kitchen. Today we're making pickled jalapeños. Vámonos! It is January, and to ease our way back into the kitchen after all the holiday cooking, I like to keep it simple, but also to replenish my pantry with staples and things that I'm going to be needing at least to give me a start of the year. And one of those things are pickled jalapeños. Pickled jalapeños are one of those things that I didn't know I needed so much until I moved to the US. I couldn't understand what was it about my lunch that felt that something wasn't there. And it wasn't until I realized that, of course, Americans like to have some pickles with their sandwiches. And there it was. I needed my jalapeños. And don't get me wrong, I love pickles, but jalapeños just hit the right spot. They speak to my soul. And I'm out of them, so I really want to make some. And I'm gonna share with you so you can have them too. They last very well in your fridge or longer in your pantry if you decide to can them. It's a very simple recipe, and I'm gonna tell you all about it. First of all, jalapeños. I like to pick mine in a variety of sizes and shapes. That way I give myself options on how to cut them. When it comes to the onions, I really like using pearl onions because they're small. I can keep them whole and that way they remain crunchy. If you can find pearl onions, another great one to use are spring onions, and you can choose the smaller ones for this same reason as well. But if you don't find them or you prefer regular onion, red and white onion work just fine. Just keep your pieces 1 inch big. That way the consistency will remain. And when it comes to my veggies, I like to keep it traditional and simple, just with carrots and cauliflower. I'm using frozen cauliflower. I think there's no need to go beyond getting a big cauliflower because you're not going to use that much anyway. Some people like to use mushrooms and little potatoes, but I'm thinking whichever veggies that you like pickle will work as well. I was thinking that it would be a good idea to try cornichons or baby corn even. So with just this little information, let me give you the ingredients and the amounts. Let's start with 2 clean and peeled carrots. I like to go for thinner ones. That way I have options in different ways of cutting them. All the top thinner part of the carrot, I like to go for little cylinders like this. For the rest of it, I just do slices. All of the amounts regarding vegetables throughout this recipe are completely optional. You can adapt them however you like. You can increase or reduce the amount of them or skip them altogether. It's really up to you. These are 100 grams of unfrozen cauliflower. I like to dig in the bag for the smallest florets and then I use the middle ones, but if I don't find enough, then I'll grab just some of the bigger ones that I can cut into pieces. I like to get rid of the stems if they're a little bit too big or too hard, and then just cut them into pieces depending on whatever shape the florets have. Like this one right here is soft enough, so I'm gonna keep it, and then these 3 florets are perfectly fine. The bigger ones that I have on the side are gonna be great snack for my dogs. In this case, I went for 10 pearl onions. I chose the smallest ones, but once again, you can do this with spring onions or just a regular small white onion. The little trouble here is peeling them. They're quite tricky to peel, but just be patient. Use a sharp knife and you can cut the ends and they'll peel it with your fingers. Or you could even blanch them and that way the little skin comes off really fast. But I didn't want to go through that, so I decided to go the troublesome way. And then I did the same with my garlic, keeping the little ones. I even kept this tiny one. I swear it's not a tooth, it's a little tiny garlic. Now let's talk about the stars. I have 350 grams of jalapeños. I'm gonna keep one as is, and if I had smaller ones, I probably will be keeping them whole because I really like having the option of getting a jalapeno next to my dish and biting into it. For these medium-sized ones, I'm gonna get rid of the seeds and veins and cut them into rajas or strips. I find that the veins give it a little bit of a bitterness that I don't really enjoy, and same for the seeds. I think that it's kind of awkward biting into them or finding them all over the place in your jar. So this is optional. You don't have to be that thorough, but it is nice to get rid of most of them. And to try keep my rajas all the same size, I'm gonna cut some of the peppers in half and some of them in thirds. And the chunky ones will be wonderful slices. I really like to have slices as an option because if I'm ever having a snack like nachos, I think those go perfectly well because you can pair them just one on top of each nacho. Delicious. I will also be getting rid of some of the seeds and veins, but mostly only on the ones that have a bigger amount of it. At the end of the pepper, you'll see there's less seeds and less veins, so I'm gonna keep those just as they are. And here they all are. Now let's move to the stove. In some oil, I'm frying my onions and garlic just until my oil gets all the flavors and smells. To that, I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of peppercorns and 3 cloves. Once I start smelling all the spices, I'm gonna add my peppers and also my carrots. You don't want to fry them, just want them to coat in the oils. Now it's time to season. I'm using coarse sea salt and 3 bay leaves. I have some oregano that I'm gonna grind in my hands and spread all over the place. Mix them all very well, and now we're gonna add the liquids. 2 cups of water, and the ratio for these peppers are same amount water and vinegar. So in there go 2 cups of white vinegar. Now I'll add 1 teaspoon of sugar for balance. Your peppers won't be sweet, but these will help balance the saltiness and the acidity of the vinegar. We're going to cover it and let it simmer. Once it does, we're gonna add the cauliflower because the cauliflower will take very few minutes to be ready. Once it starts boiling, turn it off, and it's time to make sure that everything is well cooked. So I'm gonna grab one of my carrots and poke it with a fork, and that will let me know if they are the consistency that I want. I'm gonna turn it off and let it cool before I jar it. Once it cools off, I'm gonna transfer it into a jar, just leaving behind the cloves and the bay leaves, but that's just personal preference. Don't forget to cover them with the pickled juice and try to balance the ingredients so you can reach them easily. Oh, and do you remember the tiny garlic? Well, I found it on the drain of the sink after I finished cleaning, so rest in peace, tiny friend. On a brighter note, our pickled jalapenos are ready. You can store them in your fridge for 1 month to 1 month and a half, but I hope they last less than that. And here you have them, perfect to go next to your lunch, to your dishes, or just to snack on their own. Some cold beers and just a little toothpick for people to grab and choose, and maybe even some crackers, which is what I'm gonna do right now. I can already tell that they're gonna be a bit spicy, but I mean, that's what we're here for, right? So I'm gonna make a little balanced, a little bit of everything, and let's give it a try. I don't know why I put the whole cracker in my mouth like I'm Cookie Monster or something like that. They're delicious, really. They are spicy, but Oh wow, they're good. Let's try one of the onions. Mmm. So crunchy, sweet, delicious. They are fantastic. Please give them a try. If you like spicy food or you know somebody that does, make them for them and surprise them with it. It is a really nice snack. It's refreshing, but at the same time, it warms you up because it's spicy. And as you could see, they were very easy to make. So I really hope you give them a try. Make them and share them with your friends. Just like this video. Please like, subscribe, and be notified. And for more, follow me on the socials. Adios, amigues.